Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Showcase on Dark Souls 3. It's been a while since I wore this armor, but it's all because it's part of the lore. Well, it may some people care, but I don't really particularly care. I'd wear the same armor every episode, but that would get boring, wouldn't it? Anyhow, for today's object, it's the crossbow. A rather special crossbow, the Sniper Crossbow. Just seeing that and that name, it just seems wrong, doesn't it? Description of this weapon reads, long-range, heavy crossbow used by the Korean snipers, hence why wearing that armor. Its lengthy base makes aiming difficult, and accurate usage requires a trained, dexterous hand. The skill is the tackle, which all crossbows share, which is lunge as shoulder tackle, pushing back enemies to create distance. Alright. But yes, it's a strange weapon, and it doesn't even need sniper bolts either, like previous titles. But however, visually, well, this thing's effing weird looking. For one thing, it's incredibly long, and it does look heavy as hell. You got that weird counter 8 in front, and you got a very primitive scope on there. Mind you, if you looked at that thing, everything would probably be fishbowled and bowled out. It'd be difficult to look left and right and put through the scope. But yes. But to be honest, it doesn't really look anything special beyond any other crossbow. It looks pretty plain. It's got the plain drawstring, and in the past, in actual history, they may used a windlass crossbow to get some good distance, but this is not that. So I don't think we're going to have the right firepower to even launch a bolt that long. Anyhow, let's move on to stats for Sniper Crossbow. And physically, well, we got basic damage. I wouldn't say it's huge damage, it's the same as the other crossbows. What's special here is the range. You got 59 range. A whole 9 points above the heavy crossbow. Whether that means it actually goes far or not, we'll find out. On the attribute requirements, you need 8 strength and 16 dexterity, so actually quite a little bit of both just to use this. And I mentioned before, you do not need sniper bolts. They are in the game. In the past you required them in previous titles, but not this time around. Then we got the tackle, which you only need 7 FP to use, which I don't find particularly very useful. It's good again going through shields and bashing very small opponents away from you, but rather useless otherwise. And the problem with this weapon is its weight, 7.5. Ugh, that's quite hefty for a crossbow. For the few animations there are, let's go over them. We got the basic shot and pretty much firing animation. And not to mention the reload. It did look a little bit slower than the other crossbows, which I'll compare later. However, if you use it with one hand, man, is it slow. Like, really slow. Jeez. Forever to aim and shoot. Then we got the tackle. Pretty quick, pretty efficient, but not particularly very useful, but oh well. Now about the animation speed. Here's the plain crossbow. Now I'll switch to the sniper crossbow. Let's watch it again in slow motion. So you can see that roughly it does take slightly longer to fire the sniper crossbow. Ever so slightly. So there's that disadvantage as well. Now at range, here's the typical range. A longbow I have no problem, but however we got slight drop. A very slight drop here. About a foot drop from my target radius. Now let's go over here to the much longer range, and we got a significant drop of a meter. Pretty much, yeah, 1 solid meter drop. So not as good as a longbow. When upgrading the sniper crossbow, you will need a Titanite shard. Well, in terms of Titanite shards, they're pretty common, and this thing upgrades pretty decently at 17 points per upgrade. Alright, so there's no trick here, there's a straight upgrade. Sometimes you get 18 points, sometimes 17. But it looks like in the end it'll be fairly decent with firepower. At least it goes beyond 200, so it's stronger than a light crossbow at least. There we have it. So it's powerful, but it's quite heavy. And a little slow, as we found out. So yes. But let's see some comparison of power here. So you can see it's weaker than the heavy crossbow, but stronger than light crossbow. The only true advantage you have in this battle is its range. And its range, I don't think range really plays a huge part. But it certainly does have the longest range of any crossbow. That's easy. Okay, performance, this might be a bit difficult, because even with that small delay, it's going to mean problems with firing and dodging. So I always get the first shot off nice and easy. Carefully aim my second shot. There we go. Reload, and dodge. Now fire in time, and now get ready to dodge again. It's not how a crossbow is supposed to be used, but I'd argue, would you use this crossbow in your offhand? Or even, as you know, as a temporary weapon? It's not very fast. It's not even the strongest. The bolts don't travel very quickly, so anyone who's traveling sideways might, well, walk right past your bolt. You miss entirely. So, in terms of damage, it's okay. I won't say it's great, but it's okay. See, that's what I meant. I'm not a very good shot. These guys can just walk past my bolts. That bugs me. They just casually stroll by and I miss. I'm pretty sure actual crossbow bolts travel faster than what these bolts do. So roughly 3 hits the body shot for the plain deacon. Let's try and get some headshots in. Okay, there's one. Much more damage. And, oh, come on. Just casually sidesteps and dodges it. So yeah, 2 shots, good. Now, to demonstrate the special move, I will show how effective it is against shields. I will not be killing this knight, though. Good headshot damage, though. Okay, I love this. I don't know why attack was a thing, because it's not particularly very useful. At all. It does not work against enemies this size, which at least should stagger them to get away. And you can see here, it easily breaks the shield. We shoot him in the face and then run like a little bitch. Moving on to the freaking gargoyle, though, this is like a really bad choice to fight against gargoyle with a crossbow. Like, beyond bad choice. Because, despite the gargoyle being very slow, this crossbow is also slow and lacks firepower. Yeah, it's like bringing a giant, dull greatsword made of aluminum. Just kind of like, why would you? Let's move on to the final fight against the Black Knight. Let's see if I can properly dodge, because it's all about speed here and dodging, which I don't think this crossbow really demonstrates. He'll use his shield if I go too far, and so I must dodge his maneuvers and shoot him in between his animations. Easier said than done. But between all the crossbows, I still rather take the heavy crossbow over this, because this one's still slower than the heavy crossbow. The light and heavy crossbows are almost identical in terms of speed. Unless my stopwatch hand is not good enough to detect a difference. But it's significant enough that this crossbow is slower than the other two. I'd much rather use the other ones. Even though it has more further range, it amounts to nothing if you're not quick enough with it. Let's move on to the pros and cons of the Sniper Crossbow. On the pros, it has the greatest range of all the crossbows. And you don't need sniper bolts. That is a pro, since in the past you did need them. Okay. And that's pretty much it. On the con side, it is tied to be the most heaviest crossbow, and is slower than the standard crossbows. So yes, 2 good pros, 2 bad cons. So, let's move on to the score for the Sniper Crossbow. Damage, I'll give it 5 out of 10. It's not as strong as the heavy crossbow, but it's better than a light crossbow. As for range, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good, best crossbow, but still trumped by many bows in the game. However, I changed the special to weight. And for this weapon, I give the weight a 3 out of 10. Because these crossbows are normally stacked on top of whatever you're already wearing. In terms of sword, shield, armor. Yeah, that's a lot of extra weight to put on. And for miscellaneous, I'll also give it a 3 out of 10. This, you don't need range with crossbows, you don't. Maybe with a bow and arrow, maybe with your great bow, but you aren't using crossbows as snipers. Who is? Who is? There's no scaling with this. It's just not a very feasible idea. It's a bad idea, actually. But oh well. But oh well. In total, the Sniper Crossbow 18 out of 40, which is bad. Mainly on the weight and the slow animation. Maybe it could use a little bit more damage too, but you get what you kind of get with this weapon. But oh well. There are better crossbows in the game. This one's mediocre. So there you go. I went through this whole episode without making a Robin Hood and the Men in Tights reference. Oh shit. Well, anyway, it's a fairly decent weapon, but still too heavy and too cumbersome to properly wield. But no matter. That's all for Showcase for today. Thank you for watching. I'd like to see you guys next time. Take care out there.